The forest planet of Reen Alpha has become under siege by the ruinous powers. Not used to fighting in this type of climate or terrain, will the men of the 48th Mordian Ironguard Regiment uphold Mordian's glory? A critical supply route passes through the forest, and surrounding ruins still contain functional cognitive engines filled with valuable data for the Mechanicus. Commander Zarkov has been ordered to defend the supply route, as well as to recover as much data as he can until the Space Marines can arrive. Will he hold out? And will the Emperor protect? This time on Stop Motion Battle Reports, we pit the Mordian Ironguard versus the World Eaters. Will Karn have the day? Will the Blood God get his dues? Because the Blood God cares not where the blood flows, only that it flows. Men of the 48th Ironguard, prepare to defend borders. Chaos approaches from the east. May the Emperor protect. This is an open war mission for deployment. We got the hourglass that we already have set up. Our twist is hatred, which I do forget from time to time, but our objective is standoff. Basically, there are three objectives in the battlefield, and the center one is worth 2 victory points. The ones in each player's deployment zone is worth 1 victory point, but the one in the opponent's deployment zone is worth 3 victory points. And I went for a 5-game turn on this, and we'll see who wins at the end. Let the battle begin. This is Commander Zarkov. Begin preliminary bombardment. Soften the enemy forces. We must keep them back.
Sir, artillery is reporting limited effect on the preliminary bombardment.
Battalion, issue all fire orders. Drive back these chaos filth. Take aim, men! Here they come, take aim! Sire, there's something wrong with the cogitator. I cannot maintain target lock. Damn it, Simmons, the enemy is right in front of us. Just take aim through the port window. Men of Mordian, take aim! Dimitri, I think you might need to see the Mechanicus. My optic system working just fine. Take aim, gentlemen. Commander Dimitri, I do not want to hear your complaints about your broken equipment. You put a hail of fire into those enemy, and you do it now!
Understood, sir. Plasma coils charging to 150%. Shadow Sword is online. Preparing to fire main weapon. Secondary weapons online. Preparing volcano cannon. Charging. Fire!
The ruinous forces of the Chaos God of War were stunned as the Emperor's fury-mad manifest obliterated from the field of battle one of his prized Predator battle tanks. They could do nothing but watch on as the horror of a once great war machine was nothing but a cratered husk.
Commander, there has been a malfunction. We must reroute power. Secondary lance cannon systems cannot fire at this time.
Fire!
Target located in the tree line. Lining up shot. Preparing to fire a battery. Damn, their armor's thick. Pathetic attempt, brother. Let me show you how it's done. Wyvern Battery 1, open fire. Destroy that predator. I can see it from here. Perfect hit. Nice shooting. Good hit, good hit. Batteries 2 and 3. Open fire on that rhino.
Kill, maim, burn, evacuate. We will not survive another barrage.
Blood for the Blood God. My demon engine doesn't know fear.
Sir, the forces of Chaos have taken significant damage. However, their transports are still operational, and they are approaching as we speak. We are preparing defenses. We must keep them from the road. Mortarians, do not forget who you are. You are the Emperor's hammer, and you will show Chaos they have no place in his light.
Skulls for the Skull Throne! Fire upon this beast!
Well, at least the ruinous powers can't shoot straight. I think you might have spoken a bit too soon, comrade.
Get to cover!
Commander Zarkov, Squad Bravo is below fighting capacity.
Medic!
Commander, we have enemies on the port side preparing to charge. I see them. Driver, turn us to face them. We'll blast them out before they get to us. Fire!
It's too much! It's too much! We cannot advance!
Clutched within the ruinous ceramite armor of the Chaos Lord was a demonically possessed blade, known only as the Murder Sword. This sword hungered for the Commissar's soul specifically, and the Chaos Lord strode forth, pressing his assault.
Commander, forces approach our artillery battery.
We meet again, Commissar, and I will have your skull put upon the Skull Throne for Lord Korn himself. Your soul is mine.
The Commissar has fallen! Squad, about face! Form ranks! Prepare bayonets! The encroaching warp spawn was too much for Corporal Simmons to take, and he fled, leaving his brothers to their fate. The Emperor has abandoned us! We must leave! There's no hope! There's no hope anymore! Flee! Flee! Mordian's glory is a lie! According to the post-battle report, the corporal was immediately summarily executed upon being located. Truly protects. As the Terminators had torn through the Wyvern, they were unable to completely cripple it, allowing it to fall back, leaving the precious Terminators exposed to counterattack. But first, the sights were set upon the Chaos Lord himself. All up and down the entire line of battle, orders were spout. Get back into the fight! First rank, second rank, prepare to fire! First rank, second rank, prepare to fire! Take aim! Take aim! Take aim! Move, move, move! Orders were spat out left and right. The god knew this would be their only chance to prevent complete collapse.
Fire!
With their warlord dead and their elite forces shattered, the remaining warband rallied behind Khan the Betrayer. The ancient brawler's mind was clouded by hate and a lust for blood. Raging forward, the power-armored warriors crossed open ground. Tactics were out of the window. The remaining armored vehicles moved in position. This was no longer an army, but a mob.
Commander, Squad Bravo is completely wiped. Zero combat effectiveness remains. Strategic location is exposed.
The crippled wyvern sputtered and leaked, vital fluids and sparks showered out across the crew, their hands moving hastily and their voices chanting the few litanies of repair they knew. Careful, lads! She's hanging on by a thread! Come on, old lass! You still got some fight left in ya! Her driver spoke as the machine spirit sputtered to life and the targeting system clicked on. There you go! We're back in business! All across the front, the forces of the 48th Mordian Ironguard moved into place, re-establishing their targets and their zones of fire. They had narrowly survived a surgical strike, and now were facing the red tide head-on. Men marched forward, retaking lost ground. Tanks rumbled into place. Artillery batteries readied fresh rounds. Overhead, the mercenary half-Eldar pilots, call-sign Ghost, surged forward. The enemy's anti-air capabilities were limited at this point. The skies belonged to the Imperium. Orders cried out as lasgun packs were swapped out, plasma coils charged, and prayers to the Emperor were recited. The men took aim, sized up their targets, and prepared their volleys.
By the Omnissiah, how is this machine still functioning? I must record this.
Fire!
It is hopeless. It is hopeless. We must flee. We must flee this place. Khan will betray us all. Just run. Don't stay. The blood for the blood god. It's our blood he wants. Not the Imperium's. Just save yourselves.
Blinded by rage and the lust, the remaining forces of Khan the Betrayer charged forth, their minds only on the road they had come to pillage. They were warriors of legends, many serving Khorne since the Horus Heresy, and these pathetic corpse worshippers were only in their way. Yet this only drove them forward, into the sights of the 48th Mordian Ironguard. Men of the 48th, we walk in the Emperor's light.
Fire!
As the lasgun fire and plasma gun bolts whistled around Kharn the Betrayer's head, he turned. The rage fell from his eyes as he realized he was the only one left. Not a single one of his warband survived. And with that, the Betrayer turned and fled. The 48th Mordian Ironguard re-secured the road. Victory to the Imperium. Alright, that was a fierce battle. We're going to go over an after-action report on what I thought about this, and just, you know, some things I've been thinking about after doing my third stop-motion battle report. It has been multiple months, I think like 8-9 months since I did my last one, which I apologize for, but it's been really busy this last year. And just get a lot of the models painted, get a lot of stuff printed, and we're finally starting to get back into it. And yeah, let's talk about the Mordians. Let's talk about MVPs. We got the Shadow Sword, definitely an MVP. I love it. Mostly it's Volcano Cannon. The other spawns and weapons and stuff, they did some wounds, but the Volcano Cannon wiped out any vehicle it shot at. The Wyverns were really good for indirect because there was a lot of stuff trying to hide behind cover. We wanted to bring the pain down. Plus, Wyverns, you can re-roll wound rolls. That's awesome. With Hammer of the Emperor, like, auto wounding is great. Plus, being able to re-roll the ones that don't auto wound, that's even better. The platoon commanders, they were really good. Also, when you do Hail of Fire with the stratagems, this is the first game I used stratagems. Didn't use a lot of stratagems on the World Eaters, mostly just because there aren't that many when you're not in the fight phase. And we were able to keep them out of the fight phase. It was a really violent game of tag, just trying to keep that person out of us, out of our engagement range. The company commander did really good work. The commissar, not so much. The tech breach engine seer, it recovered a couple wounds, but I don't know if he's really worth it. I think I'm not too keen on him. The Thunderbolt did work, but there were some times where it didn't really do a lot of damage for its points, because I think it shot 3 times in the turn while it was flying around. It did really good work to take out. Well, I wouldn't say really good. It killed 3 cultists, and then the Wyverns finished the cultists off because they wouldn't have been able to finish them off if those 3 were still around, and that 1 cultist fled. So very useful. It probably would have been a World Eaters victory had I not flown over and went after those units. I probably could have direct fired the Wyvern at them, but then that spawn would have got really close, so we had to be really careful with that. But I don't know if I want to take the Thunderbolt every single time, and I know it's a proxy, but I don't know if I want to take it every single time. What I'm thinking about for a future version of this army is just 3 more duplicate infantry squads and 3 more platoon commanders. Just basically the same stuff. So if I find some sweet STL files that match these, I'm not saying I don't like these models. These models come from Victoria Miniatures. I'm just trying not to spend as much money on miniatures, and assembling these older sculpts was not as good. And a lot of the 3D printed sculpts I've been seeing around are really good looking. So we might swap out, or we might get 3 more squads. They might be different sculpts, but I'm going to match the same color scheme if I ever do print 3 more squads. But yeah, the platoon commander did good work. Wyvern did good work. I mean, the Thunderbolt did work, but I think swapping them out with 3 more infantry squads would be a smart choice for objective-based missions. But it was fun. And before you comment, you might think, oh man, you're cheating. You rotated your Shadow Sword, you rotated your aircraft a lot. And I did, because I wanted cinematically, when I did the VFX, I wanted the shots to look like they were coming from the barrels of the gun. So that's why I did move things around a little bit during the cinematics. But aside from that, those are the upgrades or changes I would do for the Mordian Ironguard. Now the World Eaters, I'm not going to take them out. They're all in their cases. Now the World Eaters, I made a mistake when I deployed, because I was more of cinematically deployed. What I should have deployed is I should have deployed way further. Well, with the terrain, yes, some people did complain that there wasn't enough terrain on the battlefield, and I'm working on it. I'm going to start getting more terrain printed and more terrain set up on the battlefield. It's just going to take a while for me to get everything all squared away. But I also do like a little bit more of an open terrainscape, just so like both sides can kind of move around, and we're not playing like if you're hugging if you have so much line of sight blocking terrain, you're never going to shoot with your bigger guns or anything, which is kind of boring. But let's get back to what we were talking about. So the World Eaters. What would I change for the World Eaters? It's starting to show to me, out of playing the World Eaters for 2 games so far, is that the Predators are only useful when there's 3 Predators on the battlefield, which makes sense because you have the old kill shot strat. But like, it's also just volume of fire. When you lose 2 Predators in the first turn, you lose a significant amount of volume of fire because you got Havocs, auto cannons, and a lot of heavy bolters. You lose a lot of significant weight of fire. Also, I didn't really have a whole lot in the army that's going to be taking on something like a super heavy or something big. What I was thinking would be a great alternative replacement to the Predators is actually more Terminators. Now, I don't know how World Eater Terminators are going to come out here in the next 6 to 8 months or whatever, but I do think Terminators instead of Predators will be good at upgrade. Now, what I do have already, I do have some upgrades that I already bought for the World Eaters. We have a Corn Lord of Skulls, we have a Helldrake, and we have 2 Forge World Decimators. So it's possible that I can take out the Predators and put in maybe the Helldrake and the 2 Decimators. That could be an upgrade potential path, because I think the Corn Lord of Skulls is probably a little bit too many points. But I'm not sold on the Predators for being super viable against certain armies. Especially against an army that's got a Shadow Sword, I don't think the Predators are that good off. Now, if I didn't have the Shadow Sword and I had something more typical, like maybe a Manticore or 2 or something like that, something that's not the Shadow Sword level of points cost or as powerful with that awesome Volcano Cannon, I think the Predators would still do fine, and I still plan on taking them. But if I were to change the army a little bit, we're probably looking at some more Terminators. Because the ability to deep strike onto the opponent's board edge, excuse me, apologies for that. But yeah, the ability to deep strike wherever you need to deep strike is very, very good. And I think maybe also some Chosen in a drop pod would be kind of cool. Pop out, shoot a bunch of like melta guns or plasma guns or something. That would be pretty nifty. But what would you pick? What would you change on the World Eater side? What would you take differently? Because I still like the 3 Rhinos, the 3 Corn Berserkers. I still like the Chaos Lord, Karn obviously, Master of Executions. I've played him a few times now, and he is only good in melee, and he does nothing if you're not in melee. Which I know they're supposed to get into melee, but I don't know about the Master of Executions. He's not that good. Like, I think I would probably drop him if I needed to save some points or to add something else. The Cultists did good. They did what they needed to do until they got wiped out. And they're low on points, so I think the Cultists did really well. Yeah, but I think that's it. I'm gonna finish up here, and we're gonna get this onto the computer. We're gonna start doing all the editing, and I hope it turns out well. And aside from that, have a good one. If you want to support me, hit the like, hit the subscribe button. And if you really want to monetarily support me, just there should be a link in the description for a novel I wrote. It's a science fiction, space opera kind of novel. Feel free to check that out. And aside from that, have a good one. Goodbye.